One country is making a simple offer to help you diversify. Buy gold here, and we'll give you a residence permit good for the rest of your life with a promised fast track to get citizenship. Today, I'm going to tell you the details of how you can turn precious metals into a passport. And these are usually two diversification tactics that we separate. We tell people, store your precious metals somewhere overseas. We've talked about that at Nomad Capitalist Live. Singapore, Hong Kong, Switzerland. Those are some of the top places to do that. And then we've said, get your residence permit, get your passport, pay taxes, do those in different places because the wealth havens often aren't the best to live in. They're not the places you can get the passport. Here's an opportunity in one up-and-coming country to put the two together. Sierra Leone in West Africa is following in the footsteps of El Salvador with its $1 million Bitcoin freedom passport and saying, we want gold investors. Come here, buy 1 kilogram of gold mined in our country, pay a fee, and we'll give you a residence permit for life. It's a brand new residence program, and before you scoff at Africa, let me walk you through everything that you get. Let me walk you through why this could be interesting as part of a broader portfolio. One thing that's interesting is the country is promising a 40-day approval, so in a time of longer citizenship by investment approval timelines, 40 days is pretty darn good. I'm not saying this is replacing your citizenship by investment, but I'm saying they are looking to be very efficient with this, and there's kind of a weird bonus offer they're throwing in. I'll get back to that in a minute. The country Sierra Leone, it is in West Africa. You might have heard about it in the movie Blood Diamond. No doubt about it, within our lifetimes, some very sad stuff going on there. The country has overcome a lot. And I'm not saying this is the next hot place to invest. It is still very emerging. But I always like it when countries come out and say, hey, we got to get some people to invest. We want to bring investors here. So the deal is 1 kilo of gold mined in Sierra Leone. They want to support the mining industry. It will be, they say, 99.99% gold. It will be LBMA certified. They also say that as the price of gold increases, gold now, of course, at record highs, that they will reduce the amount of gold you have to buy. So they're basically pegging it at today's kilo bar price of gold. So that offer is about $85,000. That's the give or take the market price today for a kilo bar of gold. That gets you a single applicant for this lifetime residence program. I'll explain what you get in a moment. They are charging a fee, due diligence and processing fee. No doubt this fee is a little bit high. It's almost the fee probably they should be charging if they had a citizenship buy investment program. So for a single applicant, you buy the 1 kilo bar of gold, that's yours to keep. You're also going to pay $65,000. If you are a nuclear family, it's the 1 kilo plus $75,000. So we've been seeing this trend with the last couple of programs. We talked about Nauru's forthcoming citizenship by investment program where you add a couple grand and the whole family gets added on there. So if you have a nuclear family, that's good. If you want the extended family, you got to double it up 2 kilograms of gold and increase your fee to 100 grand. So that would be your perhaps your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your parents, we'll see what they define that as. Doesn't seem like as good of a deal. What you're getting in return is sort of an instant, truly permanent residence. So a lot of countries will give you a temporary residence. That's where you start out with most of them, particularly in Europe and in many countries in Latin America. You start out with temporary residence. Now, sometimes you can get citizenship by being a temporary resident, but sometimes you have to convert to permanent and then you convert to citizenship. Everyone defines it a little bit differently. Some countries will let you go right to permanent. So, for example, I bought a small apartment in Colombia a number of years ago. I got permanent residence. Sadly, that program no longer exists in the easiest form that it used to. So sometimes you can jump right to permanent residence. This is something that you don't see that much of, where it's truly lifetime residence. Saudi Arabia has a program. They're charging about $213,000. Hey, listen, you'd probably rather live in Saudi Arabia from a tax perspective and just a lifestyle perspective than you'd rather live in Sierra Leone. But the price of that lifetime residence for you and your spouse in Saudi Arabia, 213 grand, you're paying a little bit less than about a third of that price in Sierra Leone. Obviously, the pitch is Saudi Arabia is becoming a bit more liberalized. We've talked to people like Zuby at Nomad Capitalist Live who've said, I grew up there when it was more conservative. It's a great place, very safe, very important thing to have in your life right now. Whereas Sierra Leone, you're looking at more of the potential. So you're going to pay a fee. I do think the fee is a little bit steep, quite frankly, for what you're getting, but you're also buying a kilo bar of gold, And theoretically, you could take that with you somewhere, deal with the customs requirement, and keep that wherever you'd like. The process is fully remote. You don't need to go to Sierra Leone, they're saying, at any time. This program was actually advised and they helped to put together by an old friend of mine, the Hong Kong Visa Giza. Good to see him. Due diligence, they claim, will be strong, but the paperwork from what I'm looking at looks pretty darn straightforward. The weird bonus that I mentioned is they're adding a networking component where they're kind of creating like a foreign investment group, like a country club of sorts, for all the foreign investors to get together and share their experiences from around the world and talk about investing in Sierra Leone and basically, getting people together. We do that for our clients with Nomad Capitalist dinner parties. Over the course of the year, we get people together all around the world. They're saying they're going to do that in Sierra Leone. So if you get this residence permit, you're also getting that access. Now, the cool thing here is they're talking about a forthcoming fast track to naturalization. And what I'm imagining that will be is something like Cambodia's My Second Home program, where you get to avoid some of the requirements that a normal naturalization case would get in order to get citizenship. So in Cambodia, you have to wait the same amount of time, 5 years, to be naturalized. But if you do it through the My Second Home program, some of the more difficult requirements, those go away. I would imagine Sierra Leone, this could be forthcoming any day or week now, will be something similar. Wait a certain amount of time, maybe do like what a Paraguay really talks about, where it's like you have to have some kind of financial connection to the country. We want you to be invested. We want you to have some kind of link. But I would imagine that a physical presence requirement, I think the language is English, but a physical presence requirement would not be important. Sierra Leone, not a great passport, but it is part of ECOWAS, this community of West African states. There's 15 of them. What am I always telling you? If you can get residence permits or particularly passports within those regions, I think you're going to see, as more of these regional blocks band together, a la BRICS, but on a more regional level, I think you'll see some relaxed foreign ownership requirements where those apply. I think you'll see easier ways to invest in businesses. You might say, hey, what do I care about Sierra Leone? Well, everyone that we've worked with in Africa talks about how you can start some of the easiest businesses in the world and you can become insanely profitable. We've heard stories of, concrete businesses, all sorts of stuff. The same way I told you, 13 years ago when I was talking to you from Cambodia, guy came here and started an ice cream parlor, became a multimillionaire. I mean, that's a lot harder to do in a Western country. And so if you want to invest in up-and-coming places, then I think having residence, or again, particularly citizenship, in a block, ECOWAS. So Sierra Leone, the biggest country in ECOWAS, is Nigeria and has its problems. But I can tell you, the Nigerian stock market up until recently was on par with Bitcoin for growth year to date. So a lot of opportunities there. And potentially that's what this kind of networking association that they're offering is all about, is getting together and pooling ideas. How can you make money in Sierra Leone? How can you make money in West Africa? So this is something that you're doing for the future, particularly once they roll out details on this naturalization fast track. If you don't have to be there, that could be interesting. Now, we have talked about Sierra Leone on 1 or 2 occasions. They have been doing citizenship by descent for folks who can prove a connection historically, particularly from the United States. This is obviously different from that. Other benefits of Sierra Leone, and I say this with great caution, not part of the common reporting system. Keep in mind, what we do here is the goody two-shoes of the offshore world is we're not playing hide and seek. We're playing, as one guy calls it, show and tell. Right? We're going to be honest with where we live. We're going to be honest with our other banks. We're going to be honest with everybody where we have to disclose where our banking is. But if we can add some privacy in a legal way, I'm not saying Sierra Leone is the place I'm going to put much of any money right now. But what you're seeing more importantly than privacy from not being part of CRS is we're a country that doesn't go along with what all the other countries want us to. And what have I been telling you for the last year or two? African countries, they're pushing out, in particular France, that's what these coups have largely been about, is we're tired of what they call Western imperialism. We'd rather be more buddies with Russia. We'd rather be invested in by China. The US gives us a bum deal. We're going to put Sierra Leone first, right? That's the thing everyone talks about. America first, Sierra Leone first, and Sierra Leone. African countries first. That's what they're doing. And so one of the things that they've been doing, even going back to the global minimum tax, is saying, this doesn't benefit us to go along with your rising taxes. This doesn't benefit us to go along with your information sharing. And I think what we've heard from people who were living in Africa during the pandemic is there was kind of that mindset on that as well. Now, Obviously, the average person living in Sierra Leone does not have the kind of means that most people watching this do. If you have means, having a backup that is totally detached, where they're going the other direction. No, we don't want international harmonization of high taxes. No, we don't want to tax corporations more. No, we don't want to give you the information on our customers, on our citizens. There's something to be said for having that in your portfolio. And it flies in the face of, there'll be nowhere to go when it all falls apart. Yeah. If you have access to a 15-country block, I'm guessing one of those 15 countries will emerge to the point where you, if you have money, could go and you could live there, you could pay lower taxes, and you could be left the hell alone. That's, to me, the broader picture of what you're trying to get into. It's like going and looking at a house, a fixer-upper. The ceiling's caved in, everything, there's mold, there's rats running around, but you're saying, wow, I can really make this up into a beautiful property. I think the price is a little high, but you're getting a residence permit in any of these African countries or any other emerging country where you're like, hey, why would I want to go there? You're investing in the future potential of the ability to go there whenever you want for the rest of your life, not just, hey, every 3 years we renew it. You're in for life. You don't have to go there. You keep it in your back pocket. If you're 30, you keep it in your back pocket for the next 70 years. The world's going to change a lot in 70 years, let alone 17 years. You're investing in the future. This is an ultimate plan B. And maybe it's not a plan B, right? This is, you probably want to get a residence permit if you're an American, Canadian, Australian, British citizen. Maybe you go to Europe and you get a golden visa first, or some other kind of residence permit, and that's the play for today. There's plenty of tax-friendly countries in Europe you can move to now, or you get your citizenship by descent if you qualify for that. So maybe you get that option as, hey, I could go there today if something happened. Maybe you get your second residence permit in a Latin American country where you don't really need to be there that much to keep the residence permit, although you won't probably get to a passport. All you've got to do is show proof of wealth everywhere from Mexico down to Chile or Uruguay. Lots of residence permits in there. Yeah, I'd probably look at those first. But we've got more clients, I've been telling you this for a while now, who are coming saying, I want plan B, C, D, E, F. That's what I've done. And I'll tell you, I feel pretty secure. I've got a little bit of African diversification in my portfolio, and I feel good about that, as much as it's not helping me that much today. But I think, in a time of chaos, in a time of increasing geopolitical and military insecurity, in a time of countries raising taxes, this is the kind of thing you want in your back pocket. So we're going to be talking about residence and passport opportunities like this more and in greater detail at Nomad Capitalist Live. We're going to reach out to folks in Sierra Leone to see if they want to participate. So we definitely hope to see you every year at our 4-day live event. It will be again in Kuala Lumpur this year. This is the kind of stuff we talk about in greater detail. You get to meet and greet with people. You get to hear people's stories. We're going to have more focus on Africa, people who moved there, people who are investing there, opportunities there, not as the whole 4 days, but as a couple of segments that you will want to hear. And of course, we help people put together their plan B at nomadcapitalist.com/apply. It's something that I think more and more people are realizing they need, and I hope people realize, maybe not as the first backup plan, but as one of your backup plans, something like this is in there. Egypt has a citizenship by investment program, which comes with a lot lower fees. If you're willing to lay out more money, that's instant citizenship. But, that's Middle East, North Africa. If West Africa is more your speed, we haven't seen that much from that region ever since the Gambia was selling shady passports in Hong Kong 15 years ago. This could be something to pay attention to, particularly once the citizenship details are rolled out.